Listen, I've got a bunch of things that I want to talk about today. I don't really have a rhyme or reason. I think I just want to go through. I'll rip as long as I can rip, and then I'll bounce. You all are welcome to ask questions along the way. I'm not going to spend a lot of time training today. I'm really going to spend a lot more time talking about what's in here and what needs to happen here. And what I'm going to ask, listen, I know life's busy. I know each of you has got some crazy shit going on. I need you present, right? Factually, this high school dropout, college dropout, somehow or another built a $3 billion company. He doesn't really know why. All he can do is sort of share with you some of the trials, tribulations, the things that he thinks he's got right, some of the things he thinks he did wrong. But if you pay really close attention and you write it down, you take notes, you stay focused, you stay present, chances are you're going to learn something. I don't know. I'm not smart enough to be able to tell you specifically what it is that you need to learn. But what I can tell you is that if you are not focused on the right things, if you're scrolling Facebook or responding to text messages or trying to empty your email inbox, which I totally get, I need to do it the same thing, you're likely to miss something. And in life, the saying is that you are one decision away from changing everything. Problem is, we don't know what it is. It's one person, it's one thing that gets said, it's one thing that gets said, and you guys will love this, right? It's the one thing that gets said that you probably have been told a million times by somebody else that finally it just lands differently. And the reason I laugh when I say that is because you all have people in your office, in your family, at your house, that you're like, they come to you and they're like, oh my God, I heard this thing. And you're like, yeah, dude, I've been telling you that for years, right? But somebody finally says it, they just say it in a different way, right? All humility. Right? But bottom line is you're one piece of information away from changing everything. And I need you focused on this so that if that one piece of information comes along your way, it can have an impact and change your life. And when I say change your life, what I really mean is gives you the power, something special for you to change the lives of somebody else. You know, in our businesses, whether we're in the mortgage business, whether we're in the insurance business, whether we're in the real estate brokerage business, it doesn't really matter what business. Factually, the salespeople within our organizations are entrepreneurs, aren't they? Don't they own and operate their own businesses? Yeah. So you have a job to do, right? Your job, my job, is to lead these people to build just incredible, badass businesses that can literally leave legacies, change lives, serve more customers, all of those things. And yet our job is to build our own badass businesses so that we can actually tell some people with some level of authority, honesty, truth, experience exactly how to do it. And some of you are strong AF in certain areas and weak AF in other areas. And rather than leaning into those areas, and I'm going to talk about that here, we're avoiding them, right? The ostrich doesn't work. It works when you're operating on talent alone. That sounds a lot like you know, the best amateurs. So I want you to stay focused. Okay, there's three things that I'm gonna dig into today. I'm gonna dig into the fact that we're always surprised. I'm gonna dig into change. What is it? What does it look like? How do you do it? And then I'm gonna dig into discipline. And we're gonna talk about discipline in a different way than maybe we've talked about it in the past. So maybe it just lands differently for you, okay? For whatever reason today, I am conflicted with my energy. There's parts of me that wants to get mad. And then there's parts of me that just wants to be cool, calm, and collected. I don't know where that's coming from. I don't know why that's there, but I'm just going to go with it, okay? You guys are in for a ride. I'm in for a ride. I want to start with the big fish. How many of you fish? Okay. Where do the big fish live?
Deep down.
Deep water?
Deep water.
Okay. So the chances are you're not going to catch a big fish in a little pond, right? Water's not deep enough. Go walk with me for a second, right? I want you to write that down. The big fish are in the deep water. This is your call, because I am always surprised at how surprised we are when we get hit by a road wave, when we get stuck in a storm. See, if I'm in a pond, Like, I want you to imagine this, right? Like, when I was a kid, I have family that lives in Alabama, and so we would go for the summer. We would go to Alabama, and I can remember I had one of those little fishing poles and had one of those little bobbers on it. You know what I'm talking about? And you throw it in there, you put a little worm on the end of it, you throw it out there, you just let it sit there, and pretty soon you'd see this, right? And then boom, you reel that sucker in, and you're like, oh my God, this is great, great fit, and it's like this big, right? Little, I think call them brim. I think is what they call them. Okay. Then you get into a little bit bigger pond, right? Now, here's a good thing about the little ponds. Little ponds, you got little fish, but you can also do it from the bank, and the bank is pretty benign. It's pretty shallow. It's pretty, like, it's not steep. You're not worried about falling in. You're not worried about crocodiles and alligators and crazy shit like that. You're also protected, right? Typically speaking, there's probably a tree, it shades you from the sun, it shades you from the elements. You know, you're not worried about the winds, right? And by the way, if a storm comes, you just go inside, right? You're safe. And then you get into a little bigger pond, and now you're talking about like the big mouth bass, which I've never caught before. I'm sure some of you guys have it. Like, I love that shit where they're holding that big ass fish from its mouth, and I'm like, okay. Reminds me of a couple of girlfriends I might have had back in the day. But that's open, that's a little bit more open water, right? And now you're on a boat, and you're a little bit less protected, although you can just simply pull into a, you know, little port or a little dock or whatever, and, you know, jump off, and, you know, like, but by the time you get out and you're actually going for the big fish, you're in open water, okay? You're in deep open water. By the way, there's sharks out there. They want that food. Anybody ever been bone fishing? Let me tell you what happens when you go bone fishing. You're in about waist deep water. You're catching one of the most elusive fish on the planet. Pound per pound, they're the fastest fish on the planet. And there's this shark that really likes how they taste. And you catch that bonefish and you are bringing that sucker in, but if you don't bring it in fast enough, there's that shark that's right on its heels and will take it. And by the time you bring it in, it'll just be the head of the fish. When you go out further and you're actually looking for the big tuna, right? Like the big fish. I'm talking about the 1,000-pound bluefin off the coast of San Diego right now. It's deep. So the wind picks up and the waves pick up and the sun can be brutal and then the rain can be brutal. And next thing you know, you got lightning and everything. And then we're always surprised, aren't we? And there's some rogue wave that comes along and wallops you. Right? Y'all, some of the greatest skippers on the planet have had their ships taken out by a rogue wave in the ocean. You follow what I'm saying? Like, why are we always surprised? Can we stop being surprised? You all decided that you wanted to be leaders. It probably isn't what you thought it was when you first did it. There's probably something in your core that makes you feel like this is your calling. If it's not, it's going to be a really tough go for you, because if it's not your calling, it's going to be really hard to deal with the pain that goes along with it, right? And yet we keep being surprised. Listen, here's what I want you to do. I want you to stop being surprised when you get sick, okay? You're going to get sick. Do you know that? Did you know that you will ultimately get sick in your life? And yet we get surprised? No more surprise. We're not going to get surprised when we get hurt. We're not going to get surprised when tragedy strikes. We're not going to get surprised when challenge comes. We're not going to get surprised when market shifts. We're not going to be surprised when people leave us. We're not going to be surprised when we're betrayed. None of that shit is ever going to surprise us, because we are leaders. We are strong. And the problem is that many of us don't prepare to be strong. And so as a result, we end up, we're like, oh, wow, I can't believe she left me. Can't believe he cheated on me. Listen, if you're going to go after big shit, the risk is big. I'm going to talk about that in change, but I need you to hear this, we're no longer going to be surprised. Some of you are in markets where you've got some crazy shit going on in your lives, okay? Some of those markets are mine. I don't know if you knew this, but are you surprised that there's evil in the world? And yet here we are, surprised. I can't believe they did that. I can't believe that somebody would collude to do something so heinous. Why not, you all? You're doing something big. The bigger it is that you are doing, the larger the force against you is. Stop being surprised by the pushback. We're leaders. Our job is to act like it. Okay? So what does it look like to act like it? Y'all, I don't know about you. Acting like a leader means, hey, listen, I'm going to focus on the shit that I can control. I'm going to let all the other stuff just go off, right? I'm not going to be surprised by the fact that this happens. I'm the skipper of the boat. Storms come, storms leave. Hey, proof, ready? How many of us 2 months ago were talking about how, oh my God, the interest rates are in the 8s. This is outrageous. Like, we're never going to be able to sell real estate again. This is the worst thing ever. Like, well, blah, blah. By the way, 40-year average is 7%. 40-year average is 7%. As of yesterday, loans being locked at 5.5% and 6.2% for 30-year loans. Excuse me? Listen, if it was about the interest rates, we all would have sold 1 million homes yesterday. What do leaders do? They make bold decisions. When's the last time you made a bold decision? Yo, listen, I get it. Making bold decisions sucks, okay? Can I just tell you, like, everybody's like, oh, making bold decisions, this is great. It is not great, okay? It's sometimes paralyzing, makes you sick to your stomach. Listen, making a bold decision might look like you, like, I'm gonna change me. That's a bold decision. We've got to act like leaders. We've got to make bold decisions. We've got to be decisive in making those decisions. So not only do they have to be bold, but they have to be quick. Decisive. This is what we're doing. And y'all, I don't know about you, but I look at my family every morning and I think about the fact that I'm about to make some decisions that are going to impact them. And while I think they're the right things, you know what this reminds me of? Do y'all remember, what was that thing called? Coronavirus? Do you remember that? There was this time when the coronavirus was sort of ripping through and they were talking about like vaccines versus no vaccines, and they were kind of talking about the pros and the cons. And listen, at the end of the day, I didn't give a shit, because right before that, if we were talking about vaccines, we would have been talking about how they were revolutionary, like they literally changed society in a good way, right? And now here we are talking about a new vaccine. And so like, if I was going to err, probably would have erred on the safety side of my kids. But the information was so elusive that I couldn't make a decision. Do you remember this? Was it just me? I was scared to death. But as the leader, I had to make a bold, decisive decision. And so I collected the information and I made the decision. And for me, it doesn't matter, right? Like for me, I became, okay, we're not going to do this. It doesn't mean I was a non-vaxxer, okay? It just means that I made the decision for me and mine that we were going to wait until the information was more empirical so that I could make the best decision ever, but I wasn't going to just guess, okay? And I felt like it was guessing, so I said, hey, listen, I'm not going to do this. But that's like, oftentimes what we're talking about when we talk about making bold, decisive decisions, it really isn't about your work. It's about in everyday life. So in everyday life, are you making bold, leader-type decisions? And are you being decisive about it? There's probably an area in your life that you're not doing it. It could be that you don't know. It could be that you're afraid. It could be that you don't really want to actually do it. That's the difference between being committed and interested. You know what I'm talking about. There's an area, right? There's some folks on this call that until we put up a bet that the outcome was too painful, we weren't going to change, okay? Because we've been talking about changing for years and years and years, and it never happened. And then suddenly, we put up a bet, and suddenly the pain was great enough that we were bold and decisive in our decisions. And then, of course, we have to take bold actions, and we've got to be consistent in taking those actions. We have to take bold actions, not average actions, not actions that maybe don't ruffle any feathers. Maybe you know, listen, I'm going to give you some stats here in a minute about average, because I fear that in this world that we live in today, we are so scared of what other people think about us that we don't do the things that need to be done. We don't make the bold decisions. We don't have the bold conversations. We don't take the bold actions, and we don't do them over and over and over because people are sitting there laughing at us, right? Oh, look at him. Who the hell does she think she is? Do you know who she slept with so and so and so and so, and he's a drug addict and he's twice divorced, and who the fuck does he think he is? Fuck, are you serious? Some of you are in markets where, like, the only way you're gonna, how about this? You have two options. You can either let the market dictate who you are, who your company is, or you can stand up and say, you don't know what you're talking about. Hear me roar. Bold decisions, bold actions, bold narratives. I'm going to change people's lives, period, end of story. I can stop taking other people's remember we talked about the thermostat and the thermometer? What are you going to be, right? As a leader, you've got to be bold enough to say, hey, listen, you're way off base, all right? You're way off base. I'm not sure exactly why you're way off base, but let me share with you who I am. Let me share with you who we are. Let me share with you where I'm going. And if you like where I'm going and you like who I'm at, let's go. Let's go together. Instead, what ends up happening is we worry so much about what people think of us. Do they like us? Can I just help us 1 second? I know we're in political season. I don't mean to be political, but what I will say is that something happened along the way where we stopped caring about what people stand for, and we cared more about whether or not we liked them or not. Okay. Well, y'all, there is an Emmy award-winning actor or actress in every room that you're in. How many of you have had a conversation with somebody listen, I'll just give you the last month. It's probably the last 24 hours. In the last month, where you left the conversation, you're like, that person is great. They're on point. Like, yay, yay, yay. And then like 4 days later, they were doing the complete opposite. And you're like, what in the world is going on? Like, did I miss something? Twilight Zone, right? You can either have bold conversations with people out of this need to be liked and instead change their lives. Oftentimes, the greatest impact that you can have, certainly the greatest love you can show another human being, is the truth, right? Not sugar-coated, not any of those things, but bold, a bold statement of truth. A commitment to be the thermostat. The thermostat in today's world is an ability to not be triggered by the nonsense, right? How many of you get on social media and you can feel your blood pressure going up because somebody on the other side is saying something that you don't agree with, okay? So do you know what a thermostat does? They're not on social media. See, a thermostat doesn't give a shit. Get off social media. There's only one reason you should be on social media, and that is to connect with your hit list and to make a post. It should take you somewhere between 15 and 30 minutes a day. That's it. Get off social media. A thermostat walks into a room, can tell you exactly what the temperature is, and then can change it, is committed to changing it. See, a thermostat won't stop working until it's changed the temperature. Sometimes the temperature is too hot. Got to cool that shit down. Sometimes it's too cold, got to heat it up. But that's leadership, right? And that's the ability to be bold in your leadership, not get triggered. I know, especially with all of the NAR nonsense that's going on right now, there's a lot of us that are frustrated. We continue to have conversations that we don't necessarily like. And we may feel like, gosh, you know what? The agents are just making, a mountain out of a molehill and all of the things. Your ability to be untriggered amongst all of that stuff will dictate your leadership, because listen, sometimes people just need to be heard. If they are dictating your temperature, though, now we have a problem. You got to act like a leader. Okay. My next one is this: the excuses that we make are exhausting. All right. Listen, we got to stop being surprised. Are you surprised that there are reasons for your failure or inability to do something? I got to tell you something. And listen, here's what's on my heart right now. So here's the easy one. The easy one is I didn't achieve what I set out to achieve. And the reason I didn't achieve it was because, well, I had some agents leave. The market shifted. There was a lawsuit. NAR sucks. Interest rates were too high. I had a competitor that came in and they played mean. I've got personal issues. I've got challenges with my kids. I got challenges with my spouse. I got sick. Plausible. They're all plausible, right? I mean, I think that's the hard thing with rationalizations and excuses. They're all perfectly plausible. And they're all bullshit. The saying is, if you're serious about change, you'll find a way. If you're not, you'll find an excuse. That's the saying. But listen, aren't we also making these excuses to ourselves? So like, that's the external conversation, but can we talk just for a minute about the internal conversation? The internal conversation that many of us have is this: well, I'll get to it later. Oh, well, I'm not the right person for the job. Oh, I don't know. Like, that's just not me. I know it's not you. That's the point. You got you here. If you want a different outcome, you're going to have to become a different person. I'm not trying to be crude. I'm not trying to be like, but they talk about don't negotiate with terrorists, right? They talk about don't negotiate with your inner bitch. Like, that's what we're talking about. At some point, though, I worry more about the conversations that we're having in here than even the ones that we're having out here. You can't say, gosh, you know what? I'm struggling getting to the gym every day, and then tell me why you haven't stopped drinking and going to bed earlier, right? Come on. But that's just, I need it. Like, it takes the edge off. That's what you're telling yourself. And that's great. That's what got you here. But if you want to change something, if you need to go to the gym, I don't know why I'm picking the gym, but if you need to go to the gym and this is then you're going to change it. Like, you have to change shit. You got to stop making these excuses. You got to stop being surprised that these excuses are coming up, or the need to make these excuses are coming to you. That's the whole point. That's why people never change, because they got an excuse for everything. And they ultimately change when things get so bad. Pain is so bad, they make a change. I've got my son sitting here. He shared with me, he had an email account that I would send stuff to just periodically, right? And when he turned 18, I gave him the credentials for that email account. One of those emails was an audio message. This is way too much information, but one of these emails was an audio memo that he shared yesterday. We had this cry fest, but it was me saying, hey, listen, I've been working my ass off, and I haven't been around. I've been traveling. Remember back then, every other week I was in a car driving to Colorado. I was away from the kids. So literally the kids did not see me from Sunday after church to Friday morning. All right. And I said, here we are. We're finally at a place where, but it may be too late. That was all I said. Now, what was really going on behind the scenes is my wife had just told me that she just didn't need me. She was probably going to leave me. Now it's interesting, right? The thing that changed, like that was the pain. But what I had been telling myself was that I needed to keep going to all of these offices over and over and over and over again. I couldn't stop. And yet what ultimately happened was, ironically, the minute the pain got too much, i.e. lose your family, I no longer had excuses as to why I couldn't do it. I was committed to doing it. That's leadership, right? But y'all, that's the surprise. We're all surprised. I shouldn't have been surprised that my wife told me that we were done. I shouldn't have been surprised. And I'm not suggesting that you're going to be able to accomplish big things without making sacrifices. Okay. I think my kids have turned out pretty damn good. We'll see. The 18-year-old's a little suspect right now. But here's the thing, right? Like, you in the deep water, you all, in the fucking deep water, big shit happens, big fish happens, big attacks happen, big struggles. You got to be on point. You got to be strong. You got to do all of these things, but you will have to be a different person. And that's what we're going to talk about second, is change. Okay. So I'm going to give you 5 keys to this whole change thing. I'm not sure if they're right or not. I'm just telling you what I've done. Okay.
Hey guys, sorry for the interruption. I'm going to get you right back to the video, but most of you know me as a real estate broker, or maybe somebody who's built and scaled one of the fastest growing sales organizations in the country. What you may not know is that I also work with other sales professionals and leaders that are looking to grow and scale their businesses and just live badass lives. The one place that I have everybody start, the very first spot, is the lethal scripts for the sales warrior. I'm going to give you one for free today just so that you can get a little taste of what it is that we're doing out there. So click on the link below. We'll send you the information and let's get back to the video.
Hopefully one of these things is going to land for you. But here's the thing. We are always changing. I have most of my life had a mentor, whether they knew that they were mentoring me or not. Okay. The one thing I knew was that I was not the man for the job. Never have been. Remember, I'm the idiot. At 16, I had 4 dads, 3 moms, kicked out of the house, in rehab by the time I was 17, dropped out of high school, then went to college, dropped out of college. Like I am so not the guy for the job. I wasn't the guy to be successful. I wasn't the guy to be a business owner. I wasn't the guy to be a good husband. I wasn't the guy to be a good father. I wasn't a guy to be anything. Okay. My dad was a coward. He was fucking lazy. He drank a 6-pack every night, smoked 3 packs of cigarettes, whatever, right? Died at the age of 44. Probably not the health role model you would be looking for either, right? I'm just saying that ultimately you have to make this decision to change. And that's number one. You decide. And everybody's like, oh, it's not that easy. It is literally that easy. If you want to change, you just decide. And here, I'll prove it to you. How many of you have been threatened? How many of you have kids? Is that how I'm going to prove that? I don't think I'm going to prove that. So we all have kids. So have you ever done something to those kids? Spanked them, yelled at them, grounded them in a way where you were like, I'm never doing that again. Just me? You never did it again, okay? It just never happened. You tried it on, it didn't work, and you changed from that point forward. And the reason you change is because nothing's more important to you than your children. See, it's easy. You go, hey, listen, I'm just never going to do that again. Okay. And yet, don't we see it everywhere? Like we see somebody, they drink too much and then they say stupid shit. And rather than just quitting the drinking, they just like, oh gosh, I mean, will you forgive me? It's what happens when I drink, right? I know a guy in this town, not with our company, in a company in Colorado who literally, he's got 5 kids. He has cheated on his wife 5 times. Okay. These are choices. We decide. Listen, if you decide that you take showers, everybody takes showers. Okay. So we can do that. That's not okay. Right. I don't mean to be crude, but here's the bottom line. At the point that you just decide that you're going to be different is the time that you'll be different. It really isn't anybody else. All this other stuff is nonsense. They're just excuses. There's something that you're doing that you know you don't want to be doing. And you say you decide, but you don't. Because if you did, you just stop. What is it? What is it in your life right this second that you've got to stop doing, right? We were just talking about like getting up in the morning. Hey, listen, if you have anxiety, watch this. If you have anxiety, anybody suffering from anxiety during this craziness that we're going through right now, right? It's everywhere, okay? Here, if you decided that you were no longer going to be anxious, what would it look like? Well, the first thing I would do is I would eliminate everything that causes anxiety, okay? What is that? Well, stop smoking weed, no more edibles, stop drinking, stop eating like shit, stop going to bed too late. Stop hanging out with negative people. Get off social media. Hell, get off of your phone. The blue light, it triggers your mind. Did I say stop hanging out with negative people? Okay. I can't do that. Look at my phone. Am I this? No. You understand. That's you. That's you saying that you want to change, but that's the difference between interested and committed. Interested people say, yeah, I want to do that. Oh, I want to do that. Oh, yeah. I want that. No, I don't want to do that. Yeah, I'm just telling you, if you want that peace, that calm, or the greatest possibility of it, then you will do things necessary to completely and totally change everything. And the first thing you're going to do is you're going to eliminate all of the shit that would negatively contribute to anxiety. And then you're going to start doing things that would positively contribute to peace. What are those? Well, We talk about you start your day in a particular way. You get up, it's consistency, right? It's called sleep hygiene. You get up at the same time every single day. You go to bed at the same time every single day. You start your day with gratitude. Gratitude, that's right. Gratitude. You know what you can't be when you're grateful? Anxious. You're going to go to the gym. You're going to eat properly. What? Yeah, you're going to eat right because it's going to feed your mind properly. And if your mind is proper, your nervous system is proper, guess what happens? Anxiety goes down. You're going to go to the gym because you got to get all that shit someplace. You might as well take it out on some iron. And you're going to surround yourself with great humans that see the good in humanity and aren't gaslighting. So you have to make the decision. And once you make the decision, you'll change. That's it. Bottom line. If you haven't changed, you're just not making the decision, and you got to stop. You just got to stop. You got to stop with the nonsense. All right. Listen, somebody else has got it way worse than you. I hate to break it to you. Like, I'm sorry, some of you guys have had it real bad. I think I kind of had it bad, but then I talked to somebody, I'm like, holy shit. For a long time, I was a victim. For a long time. For a long, long time, I was a victim. I chose the other word, victor. I'm the victor. I am 100% in control of what's going on in my world, okay? I will take it. I will leave it. Everything that I'm doing right now is an impact as a result of a decision that I made. They're my decisions. If I want to change it, I'm going to change it. My decision. Here's the good news. If I'm not the man for the job, guess what? I can become the man for the job. If you're not the woman for the job, you can become the woman for the job. Period. End of story. You just have to make the decision, okay? You just have to make the decision. If you yell at your kids, stop yelling at your kids, okay? If you yell at your husband or your wife, stop. You just decide right now, I'm going to stop. If you're avoiding your prospecting calls or your appointment, stop it. Just stop it. If you can't stop eating the cheeseburger, stop eating the cheeseburger. If you don't like your finances, fix it right now. You're like, well, it's not that easy. It literally is that easy. Okay. If you get triggered, like you walk in and everybody else, no more. Today, done. I am no longer doing that shit. All right. Number two is you got to get prepared. And listen, there's 3 ways to get prepared for change. Number 1, write this down, physically. Number 2, emotionally. And number 3, financially. And I'm going to give you a framework here so that it better lands for you and you can at least understand what it is that I'm talking about. But if you look at your physical, and you might be going, well, dude, this is stupid. Why am I talking about my physicalness as it pertains to change and discipline? Well, when opportunity comes, it's too late to prepare. When the rogue wave comes, if your ship is not in the condition that it needs to be, it's taking you out, okay? That makes sense? If your personal relationships are not where they need to be, do you believe that challenge is coming? Y'all know, right? We just started this whole thing off. We're not ever going to be surprised. There will be an illness, a sickness, there'll be financial hardship, there will be some evil darkness that will push up against your relationship. The better you get, the closer you get, the devil wants it broken and destroyed. Hear me roar, I'm telling you. If you don't know that it's coming, know that it's coming, all right? Once you know, you can't unknow. If your relationship is not prepared for challenge, when it comes, you're done, okay? So your physical is your machine. Your physical is the machine. I don't care how good your machine, quote unquote, operates. If it's damaged, if it's not properly adjusted and tuned and all of it, you're done. It's not working, okay? If the vessel is not where it needs to be, you have a problem. So physically, you've got to be prepared. So you got a lot of shit, right? Everybody's like, oh, yeah. I had one agent say to me, oh, yeah, well, you're always at the gym. You know what? Shut the fuck up, right? The fact that you're 50 pounds overweight does not, like the fact that I'm too big for you, quote unquote, my personality's too big. No, it doesn't mean that. It means that you're too small. Okay, that's the darkness. That's the distraction. That's that part that I was talking about. Don't be surprised. You are a leader. You make bold moves. You do bold decisions. You are disciplined in those things. You're the thermostat, not the thermometer. Do what you need to do to get yourself ready for battle, ready for challenge. for all of the quote unquote surprises are going to take out all these other people. And there's a lot of people that are going to take it out. I'm going to give you some stats here in just a second. Just blow your mind. How many businesses don't make it? You all are operating businesses. So are all the agents and LOs that you work with. They're all operating their own businesses. Emotional.
Hey, just a quick little interruption. As you know, I work with some of the best sales professionals and leaders who are looking to grow their businesses, build exceptional lives on the planet. And what I'm doing is I'm giving away $50,000 worth of coaching and training absolutely free. All you have to do is enter the drawing below, click on the link, enter your information, tell us just a little bit about you, and you could qualify for $50,000 worth of free coaching and training. Let's get back to the video.
Emotional is your operating system. Physical is the machine. Emotional is the operating system for that machine. I don't care how good the machine is. If the operating machine's telling it to go left when you're supposed to be going right, you're not. Lots of people get into leadership because they're like, hey, listen, I have a talent, I have a purpose, I have a calling, I have an interest in what's going on in the world. You understand you're being recorded, right? As you take your little nap. Oh, all right. It's good. 18-year-olds. Hey, listen, I understand it's 10:15. It's early for an 18-year-old. So we are all sort of programmed that we have to operate. Listen, you have to be a complete and total animal. Okay. So you got to get your body. You all know that regardless, if I've got a great operating system and my machine's broken, it doesn't work. Vice versa is the same way. Well, what does that look like? Well, it looks a lot like resilience. It looks a lot like being untriggered. It looks a lot like being able to handle, quote unquote. And when I say handle, I don't mean absorb. I mean like matrix, all of the shit that's coming at you every single day. A lot of people get into the business from a leadership perspective because they're really good-hearted human beings. They've got some talent. They have some desire. But beyond that, they're like, oh, I'm just going to show up and I'm going to do my thing. And those are the ones that end up falling on their face, or they fall into what we call management positions. Okay. We're not managers. Managers sort of like, here's the frame of the box and you play in this sand and you can't go out. Okay. That's not changing lives. That's changing the world. Okay. So what we're talking about here is leadership. Okay, your emotional level, your resilience, your strength, your thought process, your clarity, your ability to matrix out of all of the arrows that are being sent your way, to be happy, to be joyful when it's pretty dark outside, right? To fall in love with the journey, to fall in love with the activities, not the outcomes, to care more for other people in earnest, not big shit. Okay, to be able to deal with the inevitable judgment that's going to be coming your way. Did you hear her? She said fuck. Well, you know what? If she didn't say the F word, I would do it. I would listen to her, but she said the F word. Are you kidding me? Who does he think he is? I already cheated on his wife. Yeah, seems pretty close with that girl at the title company. Did you see their son? Yeah, I think he got arrested. He might have gotten that girl pregnant. Do you understand what I'm saying? Like, this stuff gets created and concocted all the time. You probably have your own story. But here's the scarier part. If you don't have that story, it may be that you have spent so much of your time trying to avoid offending people that you haven't helped people. Hear what I just said. Some of you need to offend more people. I don't mean like on purpose, let's go out and shake some cages. But listen, if you're avoiding telling people the truth, if you're avoiding having some deep conversations, if you're avoiding saying some things because you're afraid, oh my gosh, what are they going to think of me? That in fact is the problem. And the third one is financial. Physically is the machine. Emotionally is your operating system. Financially is your oxygen. It's your oxygen. It's the power cord. It's tough, especially when the market's going a little wonky. You have some bad things happen. I hired a wrong person. funds were mismanaged. I've been sued. You name it. Listen, you name it, I've seen it. All right. Either it's happened to me or I have seen it happen with some other great leaders that I have watched. But just as we talked about before, there are some incredible skippers that have lost their vessels along the way or damaged their vessels or whatever, but they had the balls to get out into the deep waters to catch the big fish. And you better not be surprised when there's an occasional wave that comes. You better not stop, right? When I learned how to fly an airplane, they said, under no circumstances do you stop flying the airplane. And you think, well, of course, duh. No, you don't understand. Ice everywhere. You can't see out of the cockpit. There's nothing you can do. You can't see anything, nothing. How do you fly the airplane? Don't know. Just don't stop. The electrical goes out in the airplane. I can't communicate with anybody. I can't see where anybody's at. I don't know anything. How do you fly the airplane? I don't know. You don't stop flying. Plane's on fire. Plane's out of gas. Engine stopped. You name it. What do? I don't know. But you don't stop flying the airplane. Your financial health is the oxygen to your business. Without money, your business no longer operates. Sorry. You can't save yourself into prosperity, but you sure as hell can spend yourself into bankruptcy. So you better manage that properly. Now, listen, being a leader means that you have to make big, bold, decisive decisions, right? These are decisions about your finances that people aren't necessarily going to like, but they don't have to like it, right? Oh my God, they're going to leave me. Y'all, they are going to leave you anyway. They can leave you because your business went out of business, or they can leave you because you made the right decision that they didn't like. And by the way, which case, when they leave you, they'll go someplace else and they'll find out it was the right decision, and likely they'll come back. Or you can actually make the right decision, tell everybody why, and then go, hey, that's why I signed up for that leader. Because that person's willing to do what's necessary, because that's the golden goose. The golden goose, the machine, the operating system has to be operating properly, and you have to have the right fuel for that to happen. So get your financial ducks in a row. And y'all, some of you own your businesses, some of you run your businesses, some of you are the entrepreneur, some of you are the intrapreneur. I don't care which you are. Frankly, if I were you, if I was ever going to tell like somebody coming up in the business, hey, what would you do? I would tell them to be number two. Because number one gets sued. Number one has all of the freaking financial pain and stress and all of the nonsense. Okay. Number two, not so much. But you have to operate your individual offices, the businesses that you run. You got to operate them this way. You've got to be you physically ready to go, the machine, emotionally be the leader that you need to be. That's your operating system, and you got to get your finances in order, because scared money doesn't make good decisions. All right, number three, change your identity. Boy, oh boy, if you want to change everything, this one's a super weird one. Okay, how do I want to say this? I took some notes here. So we're all old enough here to know some people from back in the day. The most likely to succeed. Anybody know a most likely to succeed that's in jail? Yeah. Okay. So a couple of you. Isn't that funny? You're like, whoa, that didn't check out. Right? How about least likely to succeed, and they're ballers? Yeah. Isn't it funny? I was a fucking loser. Well, listen, I didn't have I didn't have a choice. I had a choice, but I was too young to understand that I had a choice. So I just didn't know. I was not marriage material. Let's just put it like that. I was not marriage material. Okay. I wasn't going to get married. Wasn't smart enough. Listen, even the school I went to, I struggled. They didn't know what ADHD was when I was a kid, right? They just thought I was dumb. You ever remember, y'all do any of those aptitude tests when you were kids, like elementary school, and then they basically said, hey, listen, this is probably the job that you should get. I was like a ditch digger. That was mine. I'm like, really? Like a ditch digger? Like not even a general contractor, but like you're just going to go out and dig ditches. If you want to change everything, you will change your identity. And I know it sounds silly, but you literally can do it. It's all your responsibility. You can do it. And here, time after time, you talk to these people. I think it was Tony Robbins. I think his was Jim Rohn, if I remember correctly. Like he just decided. Remember, Tony Robbins was like 19 years old, and he's out talking to CEOs and ballers, right? Like, let me teach you how to do this. He literally decided after watching, again, I think it was Jim, that he was just going to be that guy. You can go and interview all kinds of change makers. They will tell you that they just one day decided that they were going to be different. And you can too. Now, listen, I know you can change. You've seen it, right? Like you were born, you could walk, you changed, and you walked. Then you couldn't talk, and you changed, and you could walk. And then you couldn't run, and then you changed, and you could run. And then that's all we do is we evolve. And yet, isn't it interesting that when you're talking to somebody and they're like, oh, yeah, I know her. Yeah, I know. I can't. Who does she think she is? Or like, I wouldn't follow her. I wouldn't work for her. And you're like, well, when's the last time you talked to her? Oh, well, it's been about, probably 10 years ago. You really think she's the same? You think she's the same person? I don't know. Hey, by the way, do you think maybe you're the same person? Maybe you were the asshole. How many of you are the same person today you were 5 years ago? See, to me, that's the worst thing on the planet. If you were the same person today that you were 5 years ago, like we have a problem, right? Houston, we have a problem. So you changed. Well, here's the good news. You have control over the speed at which you change. You have changed over the last 5 years, probably allowing shit to happen to you. And you today can say, you know what? I'm not going to wait another 5 years. Like, I want to be different 5 years from now how many of you want something different? We talk about the 4 foundations, so I'll just stick with that. Faith, family, fitness, and finance. How many of you want something different in your 4 foundations 5 years from now? All right, most of you. How about you just do it right now? How about we not do 5 years? How about we just decide that we're going to do it now? But Todd, I get it. Right? I get it. Right? I understand. I'm just here to tell you that if you want to change, if you really, really, really are committed to change, like not interested, but like I'm really, like this is no longer acceptable to me. It's no longer acceptable to me that my marriage isn't on fire, okay? I'm talking about on fire. I'm talking about like when you were dating. You remember that when the butterflies in the stomach? I'm talking about great sex, great conversations, the ability to just be in a room. You remember when you just wanted to be in a room with her or him? Like you just want to hang out. Like you don't even need to talk. I just need to be in a room with them. You can have that. You just have to decide right now. You have to change the identity of your marriage. How about your kids? So one of the reasons that Cole and I were crying was because we were talking, the audio basically said, hey, listen, I've been gone. I don't want to be gone like that anymore. And so I want to change. Well, it changed. So did our relationship. Okay. Change your identity. Change who you are as a father today. Or wait, your choice. Change your vitality, your energy levels, your health. Listen, I get it. The body, shredded, 6-pack, 5% body fat, all of the things that we talk about. Listen, I'm a boy. I might as well be an 18-year-old at heart, right? Because I'm always going to talk about stupid shit. And I still laugh at farts and that kind of stuff. But here's the thing. What we're really talking about is what's going on the inside. I know that the better health we have on the inside, the better we will operate on the outside. Now, there is an outward manifestation of what's going on from the inside, but that's not why we do it. Maybe why some people do it, but that's not why we're doing it. I'm 55 years old. I feel like I'm 30. How do you want to feel? I want to feel psychologically, emotionally strong and courageous. When I look in the mirror, when I'm naked, if I'm in shape, I feel like a warrior. When I'm not, I don't. Okay? That's me. What is it for you? The bottom line, though, folks, is that in this world and this whole society thing that we're dealing with right now, there's all these people that want you to believe that you can get a different result, but you can still just be you. And I hear that all the time, right? Well, that's just not me. I know. I get it. That's the whole point of you being on the call. Listen, if you didn't want to change, you wouldn't be here. And if you don't want to change, then you shouldn't be here. I started talking about that mentor thing at one point, and it was really funny. So I pursue mentors and coaches. Like if I see somebody that has something that I want, I don't sit back and wait to get discovered by my coach. Does that make sense? Like, how many pro athletes are like, oh, I'll just sit back here and I'll wait for the coach to come? No, that's not how it worked. When they were an amateur, they said, hey, listen, I have a weakness. I need to develop that weakness. I'm going to go find the perfect person for me to develop that weakness. And they go out and pursue them, right? But yet what we see as them in the pros, they're like, oh, well, you know, their coach is Shanahan. They play for the 49ers, like, whatever. You're like, come on now. That's the tip of the iceberg. I pursue my coaches. When I say pursue, I fucking pursue them. Like, I want what that person has. I will stalk your ass. I will go after you. I will show up at every call that you will offer. I will pay you to coach me. If I pay you to coach, I'm all in. I will be the one best student you've ever had in your entire life. That's how you get a different result. That's how you change. That's how you change your identity. Now, you can do that by going to YouTube and figuring out the 5 most, influential people for you and just making, hey, here are the traits that they have, and here's the person I am as of today. But you have to be a different person in order to get a different outcome. You will not, it's not about stuff, right? Like, listen, you guys have people that are competing against you that are out there telling your agents right this second, hey, listen, it's not about you, it's about the stuff. Yes? Oh, yeah. Yeah. Oh, it's not about you. You're the right person for the job. I know you've only made $200,000 a year and you want to make $500,000 a year, but you're never going to make it there. You just got to come over here and keep more of your money. Or you're going to come over here and, we'll give you some stuff. You're the leader of these organizations. If you aren't leading in this way, then these people can't follow you in this way. If you aren't saying, hey, listen, it's not about the stuff in my office. It's about the leadership in my office. It's about the person that's leading in my office. That's the difference. Then you can't teach that shit. You can add all the stuff in the world to the wrong person. You're still not going to get a different result. I feel like I said that backwards. You can take all of the right stuff, the greatest stuff on the planet, and you can give it to the wrong person, and it's not going to work. By the way, you can take the right person and give them a bunch of nasty stuff, and they will do better than the other one. Because it's about the person.
All right, one more interruption. Hey, listen, you guys know I'm working with salespeople and leaders all over the country, all over the world for that matter, and we're all focused on one thing. How is it that we have the greatest impact and change the most lives? So here's the thing. You don't have to pay me to be your coach. I'm going to give you my phone number. I want you to text me any question you've got. I promise you I'll answer it. Just try me. 833-338-0078. Ask me whatever you want. I'm in this for you, not just with you, for you. Let's get out there and crush it and change some lives.
So where does change happen? Change happens when you change. Period. End of story. You should write that down. Change will happen when I change. Period. Change your mindset, change your heart, change your body, change your skills, change your confidence, change your intensity, change your dynamics, change your surroundings, the way you eat, the way you walk, the way you talk, the way you dress, the way you do your hair, all of these things. You want to be a different person? I'm telling you right this second, you can completely and totally change. But you have to change your identity right here and right now. And some of you are allowing what other people will think of you to define you. And so I'm going to take a minute. I want to talk about this because this is super important. Some of you won't change because you're afraid of what somebody else will say about that. Because listen, if you decide today that as of tomorrow at 12:01, you're going to be a different person. You're going to walk different, talk different. You're going to look different. You're going to have a different smile. You're going to have a different level of energy, intensity, and confidence. You're going to walk into rooms. You're going to completely and totally change the thermostat, the temperature of those rooms. You are literally going to make people more powerful, feel happier just by being in those rooms with you. You know what I'm talking about? Somebody, by the way, can I just ask you a question? If every time you meet somebody, they feel better for being in your presence, will they want to spend more time or less time with you? That's what I'm talking about. So you make that decision that that's who you are from now on. You are going to be that person. What are people going to say about you? Can you imagine? Like, let's let ourselves go dark for 1 second, right? Imagine all of the names that they're going to call you. Fraud, It's not really him. That is so corny. Y'all, this is your life, not their life. You have to make the decision. You have to determine that you're going to be different, and it's up to you. And yeah, you're going to get shade. Congratulations. By the way, if you're not getting shade, you're probably not doing shit. You should probably write that down. If I'm not getting shade, I'm not doing shit. Mine came from my wife. Well, that's not him. That's not who he is. This will be funny. Watch this. Hold my beer. Okay? He'll go back to normal. He'll go back to the old Todd. She wasn't hating on me. I mean, she wanted me to change, but I had given her no reason to believe that I would change and stay changed. So it was up to me. 100% up to me. Same thing we were talking about before, right? If you're a yeller, make the decision. Today, I'm no longer a yeller. If I exercise on a regular basis passive aggressiveness and it's destroying the relationships that I have with me, then you make the decision. Today, I'm no longer that person. How about a procrastinator? Any procrastinators? Do I have any fellow procrastinators on the call? Okay, just yep, 3 of us. I'm a procrastinator, okay? I was a procrastinator, not anymore. I just do what I promised I would do. Isn't that weird? Because I'm a man of my word. And if I'm a man of my word, and if I will do the things that I promised to do for me, then everybody else that I'm leading can now believe that I'm the person that when I say I'm going to do something for them, that can be trusted. And if I don't do the things that I make commitments to me, then I'm demonstrating for everybody else that I can't be trusted. So why would they ever want to follow me? You won't follow somebody like that. Come on, y'all. Like, let's take some personal responsibility here, right? But if you want to change, you got to change it right now. Right now. And here's the good news. You can right now. Watch. Okay? Right now, I want you to smile for the next minute. Just smile, right? You just go, hey, you know what? For the next minute, I'm going to smile. Guess what? By the way, you know what happens when you smile? Everybody around you is like, hey, they start smiling. And you're like, what's going on here? This is so weird. Right? Oh, we like this connection. Like you're being a thermostat. You walk into a room. I want you to try this. When we get off this call, I want you to try this. I want you to go to wherever your next place is. I want you to walk in. I want you to walk in with a big, huge smile. I want you to elevate your energy by 3x, 2x, okay? I want you to go, hey, what's up, right? I want you to shake some hands, and I want you to tell people how beautiful they look, how handsome they are. Josh, that color on you is fantastic, dude. You should wear that. That is a great color for you, okay? That's simple. Bopey, love those glasses on you, honey. Those are amazing, okay? Taylor, I don't really have anything to say. No, I'm kidding. Love your hair, dude. You got a new haircut. It looks fantastic, man. You look baller. You understand what I'm saying? Like if you will bring the fire into any relationship, any situation, you'll change it. You'll be different. Now, you can't just do it once, but the point of this experiment is to make sure you do it this time so you can see the impact. And it's a huge impact. Now, imagine if you did that every single time you walked into your office. Imagine if you did that every single time when you walked into your house. What if you gave your family your best, not your rest? What if you brought the same level of fire to those people that you're feeding at home that you're supposedly bringing at work? Don't they deserve it? Are they going to look at you like you've got 3 eyeballs? Yeah. For the first little bit, they are, until you've proven that this is who you are. You are the new you. Call it. Call your shot. Say who you're going to be. Do the thing. Do the work. Show up. Keep showing up. Keep showing up. Keep showing up. And next thing you know, all those people that knew you from 10 years ago, they don't know you. You couldn't be any different from that person. All right, number 5. Only one will win. The Bible even talks about that we all go and we start the race. All of us. We all start the race, but only one wins. Any race that we've ever done, we all get in there, we get going, we're running, fighting, scratching, clawing, one winner. One gold medal. I get laughed at, judged, whatever you want to call it, a lot because I'm a fighter, right? It's just in my DNA. I'm like, I kind of have to have an opponent. I get a little nervous when things are a little easy, right? Like if I don't have anything that I'm fighting for, I'm a little bit uncomfortable. I love sports. I love that sort of that battling that goes on, that the friction. I like the friction, I think is what it is. Right. Listen, I run across a lot of people that are like, yeah, that's just not me. And I'm like, that's fine. I totally get it. Like, listen, there's no judgment, right? There are people that are hunters and there are people that are gatherers. We need them both on this planet. But to be a leader, it's not being a gatherer. Okay. To be a leader, you got to hunt. To be a salesperson, you have to compete. What happens, right, is that you will compete when shit gets hard enough. Problem is oftentimes that's too late. So what happens is like there's the food, there's less and less and less food. And then next thing you know, you're really hungry. And now you're going to cut somebody. Now you're going to stab somebody. Now you're going to do it. Now you're going to fight for the food. It may just be that you've waited too long. You're too emaciated. You don't have the energy. You know, you're too weak. You got to decide, right? Are you a fighter or are you not a fighter? And fighting doesn't need to be like, you know, I'm going to crack skulls or take souls or whatever Goggins says. It doesn't need to be like, you know, a Spartan warrior, you know, I'm going to stab you with a sword. It could just be literally fighting, however you have to do it, right? But what I'll tell you is that in order for you to be the fighter, in order for you to be the person, the leader, to have that change that we were talking about through this whole thing, is you literally have to reinvent yourself, right? The one right before this was like literally become a different person. You literally have got to compete. You've got to determine that you're going to fight. You've got to kill the old you. Now, here's where it gets a little bit crazy, right? And you're like, kill the old me? Yeah. See, the new you comes at a cost, and the price is the old you. It's your old way of thinking. It's your old actions. It's your old schedules. It's your old behaviors. It's your old mindsets. It's your old values. You got to kill it. You got to identify your weakness. I think we talked about this last call. So many people are like, hey, listen, I'm really good at this area, so I'm just going to lean into that. I'm like, that's fantastic. But if you don't fix your weaknesses, you got a major problem. It's a difference between amateurs and professionals. Pros identify their weaknesses and they level them up. Amateurs just kind of lean on their talents. I get it. I mean, I understand. But you have a weakness, you got to kill it. You have literally got to kill the old you. You got to kill your weakness, and then you got to outwork everybody in between. Outwork everybody. Okay, you're a pro. Remember, like if you look at the kids that come up in sports, you see it, right? Like when I'm going back and I'm looking through videos of Cole and playing soccer and football. Cole was an exceptional receiver. And you could see at age like 9 and 10, he just stood out. Right. And you're like, oh, he's one of those. By the way, he was not that in soccer. But what's funny is he remembers himself as like, you know, the next Ronaldo or Messi. Didn't happen. Anyway, but on the foot, you know what I mean? Like as a young kid, but you know what? Then all of a sudden those kids, they make it into, you know, let's call it high school or competitive league. And boy, all of a sudden you're like, oh, ooh. Like all of the kids that were looking at flowers on the field, they're gone. And now all you have are the ones that have talent. And that's when you start to see some pretty exceptional things happen. You start to go, oh, well, that one right there has got crazy, crazy talent, but he's rarely at practice, right? And then you see the ones that not only are practice, but they're also practicing at home. And they're putting in the crazy effort, right? We're watching a show on Netflix right now called Receivers. There was a guy who was talking about, I think it was Jefferson, and he was talking about his dad. When they were 10 years old, they were at a football clinic, and there's one 10-year-old kid who had exceptional hands. And so Jefferson's dad went up to that kid's dad and said, hey, what are you doing? And he goes, well, I'm throwing 200 balls to him a day. So Jefferson's dad went out and got one of those ball throwing machines, and Jefferson catches 202 balls a day. They all had talent, but they had to outwork everybody to get it to the pros. There is this decision that you have to make, and it's why I led this thing off with like, I have to have an enemy. Sometimes that enemy has got to be you. Like you got to fight you. Okay. And hopefully this makes sense, but you've got to decide that your average, I would rather die. I would rather die than be average. I'm going to give you some stats. I told you I'd give you some stats, but here, this is crazy stuff, right? How about this? Average marriage, dead, divorced. I think I'd like a better than average marriage. Don't know about you, right? Average per capita income. Watch this one. Average per capita income is $35,000 in the United States of America. Did you know that? Yeah, they talk about the median. It's like 68,000 or whatever. Well, that's bullshit. Listen, data don't lie. Statisticians lie. Okay. The average person in this world, in this country, makes $35,000 per person. That's bullshit. I don't want average. That's poverty. Average health, get this one, overweight by 20 pounds from their quote unquote ideal weight. Y'all, that's not their fighting weight. That's what the federal government says is an acceptable number. Whoa. Okay. The acceptable number is a BMI of 25. Okay. Bruh. That is not it. Okay. But listen, if the average American is 20 pounds overweight, well, we're on the cusp of obesity. Okay. And with obesity comes all kinds of really, really bad diseases. Okay. Dementia, Alzheimer's, heart conditions, diabetes, strokes. I can keep going. Okay. We have to get pissed at that. We've got to say, you know what, the old me, no way, man. Like I'm gonna live long and strong, baby. Like the old me, I'm out. That's out. The average American is in debt $92,000, not including their mortgage. How about that? That was a pretty good stat. I'm like, are you serious? Not including the mortgage? I feel like it's like the mainstream media is like, these are not the droids you're looking for. The politicians, these are not the droids you're looking for. Y'all, if we are going down the average path, we are like sheep going off the edge of a cliff. Here are some stats for you on businesses. 20% of businesses fail in their first year. 30% of businesses fail in their second year. 50% of all businesses fail in their first 5 years. 70% of all businesses fail in 10 years. Well, I think we should probably not be shooting for average. What do you think? But we got to get pissed. You got to get pissed, y'all, because it's too easy to backslide into average because you're surrounded by it. That's the whole point, right? If what you were saying is that in order for us to actually succeed at the level we want to succeed, we have to be in the top 1 or 2%. Well, that means vast majority of what you're being surrounded by is average, or certainly below what it is that you want. And so as a result, you get sort of mesmerized into thinking that, well, I'm better than that person. Well, that's good for you, but that's not the benchmark. Are you better than you were yesterday? So you got to get pissed off. You just got to decide, you know what? I'm going to be unbeatable. I'm going to be the best in the world, period, end of story. Nobody's going to know my business better. Nobody's going to be better at making the phone calls. Nobody's going to be better at serving their families. Nobody's going to be better at serving their customers. Nobody's going to be better than, making the phone calls, saying the right thing at the right time, in the right way. Nobody.
Hey, sorry for the interruption. Last one. Hey, it's about that time, and we are doing business planning events all over the country, and I want to make sure that you have your absolute best year ever. The people that go through our business planning, on average, make over $250,000 per year, and if you're looking to do that, if you're a sales professional, text me at 833-338-0078. Just text me the town that you are in, and I will send you information about the business planning event that we're doing in your area. All right, let's get back to the video.
How many of you right now can, with honest, conviction, say you could walk into the sales meeting in your office right now and absolutely lay it down, slay your scripts and dialogues? You'd be the absolute best person in there to schedule an appointment, to convert somebody to become a buyer, a seller, to negotiate a contract, you name it. You know your scripts, your dialogues, you're an animal. You need to. And it's your choice. Just get pissed, man. You just decide that I'm going to be the best, but you got to do it in all areas of your life because your family deserves it. They don't deserve an average husband or wife or an average mommy or daddy. So don't be it. That's why I say it's going to look like when you say going up against people, it's going to look a lot like you have to go up against you. So go up against you. Go kick your own ass. I told y'all before, I've never been the person for the job, ever been the person for the job. But here's one thing I have. Some of you will laugh about this, but here's the thing. I am humble enough to know that I'm not the man for the job. See, everybody out there is like, oh, I'm cocky, blah, blah, blah. No, you don't understand. There's a difference between confidence and cocky. I am not afraid to dig in and identify my weaknesses. I'm not afraid to say, oh, I screwed that one up. Once you identify your weaknesses, you can actually do something about them. As long as you don't identify and won't admit your weaknesses, you're a narcissist and you will not fix them. Okay. Now, all day long, you can say, oh, everybody else. No, it's you. It's you. You are the problem. You have to become the man or the woman for the job. I tell this story. How many of you are single? I'm looking around, right? Okay, listen to me. I had this conversation with somebody. I said, I want you to do me a favor. I want you to write down the perfect person for you. Like write down 5, 10 traits, perfect person. And they did. And I said, awesome. All right, let's talk about it. We talked about it. Oh, they were beautiful. Honest and caring and charisma and sexy and, you know, all of the things, right? And I'm like, oh man, that is beautiful. I love it. All right. And you know what happened? I go, hey, so can I ask you a question? That person walks into a party, right? And they're looking around. Do they see you and go, yeah, baby, that's exactly what I've been looking for my whole life? There was a moment I could see it in their eyes. If it wasn't over Zoom, they would have stabbed me. It was the truth. See, everybody thinks that they're going to get something and then they'll become something. And that's not how it works. You have to become something and then you will get it. We all have had it too freaking easy. Or we don't see how hard people have struggled and worked and done all of these things to become the person that they are. What all we see is the tip of the iceberg. You know, you look at every single successful person I've ever come across has all worked for years and months and years and sacrificed so much so that they can actually have the success that they have. And by the way, most of them don't make it. 70% of those businesses fail. That doesn't mean that those people didn't make sacrifices and do hard work. That just means that they didn't get to the finish line the way they wanted to. So these people, these successful people, they do all kinds of work, struggle and sacrifice and pour and change, and they do all of these things until finally one day it happens. And they're like, yay. Too many of our leaders in the world, the US, right, look at it and go, hey, listen, I should just be able to jump right to the other end and it should be easy, all good, all done. That's not how it works, okay? So we've got to stop. We've got to have the discipline to actually do the work over and over and over, especially when it's dark. We talk about the peaks and the valleys. It starts with the valley. It starts with the darkness. It starts with you changing you and being prepared to climb that mountain. And once you determine the person that you have to be, right, using that analogy for the mate, right, looking for the mate, well, who is the perfect person for somebody like that? What is that person looking for? Will you go out and become that person? Then and only then are you attracting the right people. We have to do the same thing in leadership. We've got to be willing to call our shots. We've got to stop being surprised by all of the struggles and challenges that come our way. We got to stop being surprised by the rogue waves and all of the nonsense that comes, because the big fish are in the deep seas and they just come at a bigger risk. We've got to get our minds wrapped around this fact that you can't invest a little and expect a lot. You invest a lot, your time, your money, your energy, all of these things, your risk, and you get a lot. That's how it works. There's lots of failures that come along the way. You still have to do the thing. You still got to do the work. There literally right now are people that are distracting you and I from doing what we're doing, right? I'm going to make sure that you hear me, right? If you have not done it, you cannot teach it. Listen, I'm going to wrap up here, right? But I need you to hear this. If you haven't done it, you can't do it. You can't teach it. If you don't have it, you can't give it. So go do it. Go do it for you. Go do it for your own body. Go do it for your own family. Go do it. Fix your physical, fix your emotional, fix your financial, so that you can impact other people. Some of you are looking for safety, like true financial safety. Can I just give you a little tidbit? This is going to break somebody's heart. You ready? You will never get the financial safety that you think you need until you have sold your business and stuffed your mattress. We've built a really big business. The only thing that has changed are the zeros and the commas and the level of stress. Still have sleepless nights, still struggle with personnel, cash flow, leases, recruiting people, losing people, training people, all of the things, still struggle with all of those things, just more of them. You will never have that peace, that joy that you think you're looking for until you've sold your business and stuffed your mattress. And I mean stuffed your mattress, right? Because a lot of people we know, right? They sell their business, they sell it for X number of dollars, they put it into the stock market. Well, if you've been in the stock market the last couple of days, not a probably good place for you, right? So you understand it's still not it. So what ends up happening is we all think that we're chasing this thing at the end of the rainbow. And the rainbow, there is no pot of gold. You've got to be the person that you need to be today. Next one, you have the responsibility to vet and protect who you're listening to. Y'all, I want to give you the authority. Ready? Here's your authority. I'm just going to hand it to you. Ready? Everybody grab it. Here's your authority. If you are talking to somebody mid-sentence, okay, you are in some kind of a conversation with some asshole that can't speak anything good about anything, you have the approval authority to mid-sentence turn around and walk off. You don't have to say anything. You don't have to do anything. You don't have to worry about what they're going to say about you. It's your responsibility to protect yourself. You have to be the fastest person in your company because the speed of the leader is speed of the pack. If you are a procrastinator, and you got to fix it right now, okay? Because what happens is people are watching you, and every time you don't get done what you need to get done, what you're doing, whether it be consciously or subconsciously, they're taking that information, and now suddenly they're rationalizing in their own mind that they can't do it. I would much rather you conquer that for you so that you can look at people and go, listen, I suffer from this too. Can I share with you how I've been able to do it? Let's do it together. That'll change everybody's lives. But you've got to be the speed of the leader, speed of this leader, speed of the pack, okay? Everybody in our organization is going to get an offer to become a certified coach with us, okay? And the reason for that is because what I'm seeing out there, and you're seeing it in your companies too, is that many people are outsourcing their influence. What that means is you've got somebody in your organization who is looking to somebody else to be their mentor. Now, wait for this, okay? Sometimes those people are in your house. If your children are being mentored by somebody that's not you, well, that might be a place to start. You're the leader of your home. Those are your children. If they're not looking up to you, you've got a problem, okay? If your children are not looking up to you, that's the very first place you start. I can guarantee you one thing. If you can't get your kids to look up to you and follow you as the leader of your home, then you cannot get anybody at your office to do it. Sorry, not sorry, okay? Start at home. Fix it. Fix it right this second, okay? Don't you hate it when you write your notes and then you go back to your notes and you're like, I have no idea what that meant. I heard a saying from one of the folks that we interviewed here recently. They said, if you're too big to serve, you're too small to lead. You all are leaders because you have a servant heart, but the question really comes down to, are you actually serving, right? Remember, there's a difference between managing and leading. And leading means that I'm willing to have conversations and actually serve people in ways that should, like I normally maybe wouldn't, maybe my ego, whatever it is, right? But if you're too big to serve somebody, then you're too small to lead, okay? But ultimately, y'all, it's all your fault, okay? Every single person in our organization, every person that goes to our coaching, everything, we all talk about it's all your fault. At the end of the day, the way that people are responding to you and reacting to you ultimately is exactly the way you're doing it. You could be micromanaging them. You could be trying to manage them instead of lead them. You could be maybe not. You could be the thermostat, thermometer, not thermostat. You've got to figure out where it is. You're just not quite it yet, but you can be. All you have to do is identify where you're weak and change you. So again, you got to make a decision to change. You got to stop being surprised, and you got to be disciplined to doing all of the work, okay? Hey, I'm going to ask you guys, let's see, certified coach, Jeff's going to talk to you guys about that. We've got Growth School going for any of you that want to be on Growth School. I think we are on the presentation stage next. We just finished the interview. Those are all being recorded. So if you need a refresher on any of those, please reach out to Jeff. He can get you recordings of that. But listen, you guys have got to get out there and crack some skulls, okay? You've got to make some changes. You've got to be different. The world is different, y'all. It is very, very hard. 4 million transactions, that is not a lot. That is not a lot of transactions when you start talking about 1.6 million of agents. Now, I get it. Like, there's a lot of people out there that aren't making it. But hey, by the way, is that a good thing? Like, I don't think that's a good thing. If they say that 50% of the agents aren't selling anything, I think that's an abomination. I think that means that we should be out there trying to do something for those 50% of the agents. We're already doing something for our agents and growing our agents and growing our agents. Like, you can just look at the data. But gosh darn it, man, like, I don't think this is a good thing. And I think it's because we lack leadership, and you guys are the ones. You're the people to be the right leaders. You're the ones, right? And by being here, you're proving you're the ones. So let's go out and change some lives and make some things happen. Thanks for being here. I'm sorry I was running late.